hadn't handed back her sample. She would have to sew another one. She leaned her head back against the window of the train and ran the whole interview through her head. It always went wrong when they asked her about her manufacturing plans. None of the companies liked the fact that she didn't have a loan or an investor, but was trying to crowdfund the money she'd need. They all seemed to think that she was being wildly optimistic about how many random strangers would put money into her enterprise. To be perfectly honest, she was starting to wonder if they had a point. Raising money by crowdfunding had been a brilliant idea in theory. It would put her in touch with people who enjoyed fashion and were likely to shout about it on social media. And it would help her form her tribe as she went along. Except it wasn't working. She didn't know why. Everything else in her business plan held up, but if this one step failed, it could scupper her business before it even started. At this rate, she was going to run out of the redundancy money that she was living on and would have to go and find a new job within a few months. She sat up straight again and looked down at the bag resting against her leg. This was her dream, Shanti bags. If she made it work, she could make life easier for thousands of women. Millions even. She wasn't sure when she'd started thinking about it, but it had been noodling away at the back of her mind for long enough that when she was offered redundancy, she had seen it as a chance to leave her soul-crushing day job and leapt at it. Now Shanti Bags was that much closer to being a reality. She wanted to succeed so badly that it was almost painful, except no one believed she could do it. And sometimes she thought they might be right. Luke Burnside changed into his cycling gear in the bathroom and went back to his office. It was late evening and the building was emptying out as people hurried off home, people from the many small businesses based here. His own assistant, Pete, had already left, so he had the office to himself. He checked the time. He could do a bit more work before he headed out. Instead of putting his laptop in his backpack, he pulled up his chair and opened up the accounts for that quarter. Their takings were down, again. He'd had the online event company for 7 years now, and it should have been making a good profit by now. But it looked like there wasn't going to be much to write home about this year. Again. At least that meant he wasn't going to have to give any more money to his business partner either. He rubbed his face. At the moment, Bradley was rarely in the office, but he still owned part of the company. Luke worked all hours, while Bradley did almost nothing. Luke needed to discuss this with him, but he kept putting it off. The very idea of confrontation made his heart pick up pace. He breathed in and out carefully, forcing his pulse to slow back down. Not today. He made a few notes to remind himself of things he had to check, then shut the laptop down. Not being able to pay himself properly was a real pain. He grabbed his bag, but in order to get his laptop in, he had to remove the envelope that he'd tucked inside that morning. It contained the details for his arrangement with the online gaming company, Siren Corp. He mustn't forget to post that. He could have put it in the post tray at work, but he liked to keep his gaming life separate from his work. He didn't want anything to connect them. He slid the letter back into the bag once the laptop was in and put a reminder on his phone to post it. It was nearly 7 o'clock when he finally headed to the stairs to leave. Noticing the lights were on in the main meeting room, he peered in through the glass door. Kim, the receptionist, was in there, tidying up. She should have left ages ago. He knocked and stepped in. "What are you still doing here, Kim?" She flipped back her corkscrew curls and gestured towards the cups and saucers she was gathering. Steering committee meeting overran. She reached for a plate left in the middle of the table. Still, overtime. "Here, let me help." Luke clipped his cycle helmet on to get it out of the way and began stacking the cups and coffee mugs on a tray. At the other end of the table, Kim did the same. He and Kim had started working at the Nest when the small business incubator was still brand new. Luke and Bradley's fledgling company had been one of the earliest tenants, and Kim had been the building's receptionist. They were part of the old guard now. They ended up with 2 trays stacked high with used cups. "You go ahead to the kitchen," Kim said. "I'll lock up and follow." "Righto." He picked up one of the trays and pushed his way through the door at the top of the stairs. As he descended, one of the towers of cups wobbled, but there was nowhere to rest a tray to steady it, so he carried on praying nothing would fall over. At the entrance of the next floor, he faced a door with a pull handle. He frowned and was considering putting the tray on the floor and sorting out the cup tower first when someone pushed the door open.